We all have a unique view of the world we are in, how you overcome your challenges or attain your goals. Every experience in life has the potential to inspire, influence, and impact those around us. Welcome to the 3i Stories podcast by Better Version of You. Hello again, friends, and welcome to the next episode of the 3i Stories podcast by Better Version of You. I'm super excited to interview our next guest, someone who wears multiple hats, an incredible woman, a leader, a mother, a wife, and a business owner passionate about building communities. Let's welcome Kamni Raju Russell. Kamni, how are you doing today?
My goodness, that's such a lovely intro. Thank you very much. Every day is a blessing, and that's how I am today. My line is always, it's always a good day to have a great day. And that's exactly how I am today, and excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure is all mine, and I'm very excited. I love that line. Every day is a good day to have a great day. Wow, that's a golden nugget for our listeners right there. Kamni, thank you. Super excited for our conversation. Looking at our notes, wow, what an incredible childhood you have had. Could you take us a little bit into your life growing up and share with us?
Absolutely. So, of course, I'm fourth generation Fiji Indian. Firstborn to amazing parents, and where I am today, the credit does go to a mum and a dad who've always been very open-minded and always nurturing us to be the best version of who we can be. Born in Nandi, I went to school in Suva. I went to MGM. And then in 86, we moved to Tonga because my dad found an amazing opportunity to grow his business out there. And this is when Fiji was becoming really flooded with tailors. You know, all the tailoring shops were popping out here and there, and that was creating a lot of competition for him. So he was clever enough to find out the next best place to run a tailoring business, and that happened to be Tonga, where they didn't have his talent or skills. At the same time, that's when the Tongans' waistline started growing too. So, of course, you know what happens. And the rest is history. So, grew up in Tonga. I still have my friends out there. I've got wonderful memories of Tonga. Going to high school in Tonga. I went to a Mormon high school, which was really good because it taught me all the discipline I needed to. And it was quite ironic because my parents were both Hindus. My dad practiced Hinduism every day. He would wake up, say his prayers, then go to work and come back and say his prayers, and then, you know, do the normal stuff he did. And then from Tonga, a lot of opportunities opened. I finished high school, was one of the first ones to get into the Tonga National Form 7. And after that, yeah, it was really exciting times. Then after Form 7, I did a bit of university through extension studies based in Tonga, and decided at 19 that it was time to be a rebellious 19-year-old and moved to Fiji and lived with my grandmother. And that was a better training ground for me. I learned how to cook. I learned how to clean. I learned how to do things. I had to learn how to walk, you know, not relying on my parents to drive me everywhere and things like that. And that experience really taught me a lot in terms of being self-sufficient. When you have parents who give you everything, it's really hard to be that sort of person. So my growing up happened actually after being 19. And for an Indian woman, that's quite a late growing up, you could say.
Wow. So from Fiji to Tonga and back to Fiji, and where you kind of started to grow and find who you were, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That must have been fun, right? To say the least.
it was growth
Mm, mm,
in a fun way because I was doing it on my own without, your parents' shadows.
mm,
It was a lot of trial and error,
mm.
and it was a lot of breaking a lot of rules. But I am a born rebel. And that did land me into a lot of trouble, but at the
Mm,
same time, it did open a lot of doors for me.
mm.
And hey, if I didn't rebel, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Nah,
Yeah. So
that's
from from Fiji, I went back to Tonga, and then traveled a bit.
okay.
Traveling to Samoa, where I lived and worked for a while.
Right. Mm.
And from there, I met a group of Polish photographers who were sailing around the Pacific, and they offered me to join the crew and sail with them. So I did, and we sailed around the Pacific, which was again another experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is almost like an unconventional growth of a person in Fiji, primary school, high school, university,
Yes.
work, right? Where
Yeah.
yours kind of took a different turn. That's
Yes, it
wonderful.
did. Yeah.
Mm. And it
Thank
got to
you.
show that how that can also shape a human being in a different way, doesn't it?
Absolutely, especially when you're sailing
Mm.
offshore and you're constantly seasick. Yes, I was constantly seasick except 2 days before we would dock, and then I'd perk up.
Mm.
And, yeah, I learned things like, how to navigate a yacht,
Mm.
um, you know, how to calculate distance and time of arrival and things like that. It was fantastic.
It's a totally
Yeah.
different set of life skills. Eh,
It was.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
take us from there to the next phase.
While we were sailing was my I was sailing also with my boyfriend at the time who owned the yacht, and he was a photographer. So
Ah,
he would take photos. And my question is always, what are you going to do when you take these photos back to Poland? And
mm,
he would say, oh, I'd archive them. And they were such good photos that their
mm,
stories had to be told. So we came up with a series of publication called, and in
ah,
Polish, it's called Spoza Raju, which means out of paradise. And
ah,
we started finding local people who would like to, um, y- you know, write about their countries
mm.
and places they have been. And those photos then got incorporated in this series of publication that's still for sale in
Mm.
Poland.
Oh wow, wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible. Yeah,
it was.
who would have thought back then, right?
I know. I know. Every time I think about it, I smile because I think I never realized that had not thought the way I did then,
Hmm.
those photos would still be archived.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, some thinking outside the box and making the most of the opportunity of the resources that were already there, right?
Exactly.
Mm,
Why waste good things?
absolutely. But from your sailing days to then, what was next before you moved to New Zealand?
Well, again, I went back. I went back and worked a bit in Fiji. I worked for a liveaboard, and a beautiful liveaboard company called Naya Cruises, based in Pacific Harbour. And I was there for about 2, 3 years, and then my dad got really sick. I had no second thoughts, but decided to go back home to Tonga and be with my parents and
Mm,
help them in their business at the same time. Just be the support that they needed.
right,
And
right.
then I was home for about 2.5 years before Dad passed away. And
Mm,
once he passed away, I struggled living in Tonga. It was just everywhere I turned. It was a reminder of him. So I moved to New Zealand
mm.
and started a life here.
Yeah, well,
And
firstly, sorry about that it happened at that time. But such is life, as they say. Sometimes
Yeah,
things just happen that is not in our control. But
yeah.
I think knowing you and who you are, obviously, with time, you kind of dealt with the tragedy and then continued to move on, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I
Mm,
think as people, we forget that, death is imminent. No one can escape it. We will all go through it. And being there when my dad passed away, I realized it will happen. And if I could say, he had the most beautiful, peaceful death
mm,
that I have experienced. And if, when I go, that's how I want to go.
okay. That sounds very peaceful.
Yeah, it gives you goosebumps,
Mm,
doesn't it?
yeah, no, it does. But thank you for sharing, Kamni. Thank you for that.
Pleasure.
Mm. Now, you mentioned from Tonga you had moved to New Zealand. Right.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
So someone born in Fiji, someone growing up in Tonga who then moved back to Fiji, then to Tonga, then to New Zealand. How is it settling in New Zealand?
I think Tonga expanded my thinking because I was Indian. I was, when I still remember when I first, as a teenager, was in Tonga, I was really conservative. I thought that way.
Mm,
Whereas my group of Tongan friends challenged my thinking, challenged
mm,
my way of looking at things. Yes, I was bullied. Yes, I was called names, but these were, and it happened in school. And tell me about a school where you don't get bullied. But I think
mm,
those of us who get bullied and come out on the other side are the ones who actually have experienced and grown
mm,
and learned along the process. Yeah, Tonga just opened not just my mind, my personality as well. Tongans are
mm.
very loving people. Once they get to know you, they open up their soul. And yeah, so I've got a Indian head and heart, but my soul's Tongan.
Oh, that's a nice way of putting it.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. And you did mention, being an Indian woman. Now,
Yeah.
that Tonga definitely shaped you, but New Zealand may have had a different set of challenges for you. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, was my accent.
Mm,
I don't have that Fiji Indian accent. I've lost it because when I went to high school, I had American teachers, so I had that American. g- You know, back then, about 15 years ago, it was stronger.
mm,
And I've Kiwinized,
mm,
been married to Mike for so many years, but yeah, I spoke like an American. I thought differently. I was opinionated always and wasn't afraid to step up to the challenge.
mm,
So these sort of things, and yeah, when an Indian woman moves out of Fiji or somewhere else to New Zealand, I think there is that battle of confidence in her, whereas my confidence came because I moved to a new country and I looked at it as a challenge, and I
mm.
was like that charging bull to just take on the challenge and run with it.
No. What shaped you into what you are doing now?
Of course, when I came in, I was employed, and then when Mike and I decided to get married and start a family, we jointly decided that I would focus my time initially growing our family and taking care of them. And
Mm,
we've been blessed with three beautiful daughters. So I wanted to be that stay at home mom. And
mm,
thankfully, we could
mm,
make that decision. So when our youngest one was about 2, that's when I started wanting to get back into workforce. But what I found was I wasn't employable. I know it sounds really strange, but
mm.
they would find tiny faults. Like I remember going for an interview and I know I excelled, but they came back and the feedback was, "Oh, but you didn't explain that." And I just thought, shouldn't that be self-explanatory? So that sort
Yeah.
of feedback kind of made me think again about what I wanted to do.
Mm,
And of course, going into paid employment was not one of it.
Mm,
So I started exploring and finding out what I wanted to do. And I came across a network marketing business called Intimo Lingerie and
mm,
trained to be a lingerie stylist slash consultant and
mm,
helping women get fitted into their right size underwear.
mm,
And that really was the opening ground for me to take on a business challenge and start
mm.
flying with it.
That's beautiful how, a circumstance shapes us
Yeah,
into what we
yeah,
then get onto in our journey. But before I talk about the business side of things, you mentioned Mike and you together, you decided that you will be a stay-at-home mom. I'm sure
yeah,
many listeners here, our audience, some would be going through that phase of whether to decide to be a stay-at-home mom or may
yeah.
be a stay-at-home mom. Could you tell us, going into it, how it was and some of the challenges and the beautiful aspects of being a stay-at-home mom?
It was really challenging. However, being older parents, we
Mhm,
decided that we wouldn't be goo-guying over our kids as much as, a lot of parents do. And that was fine if they chose to bring up their kids like that. We wanted to bring up our girls as little people.
mm,
So every opportunity we got, if we had something that we were reading and one of the girls came and hopped into our lap, we started reading it out loud. Little things like that. We traveled a lot
mm,
with them. Um, in between having our girls, Mike worked in the Solomons for a couple of years, and we all moved to the Solomons because I wanted the whole family to experience life growing up as an expatriate
mm,
in another country, the benefits and the challenges it came with,
mm,
and it was a really great experience for my husband to
mm.
be on the journey as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And if someone's contemplating whether to be a stay-at-home mom or just take the standard maternity leave and get back into work, what would your advice be to them?
The first one is it going to work out financially? Because if you're financially capable of staying home and spending that time
Mm,
with your children, I would highly encourage it. It's the best time. It's when you can really build that foundation
mm,
with your children. Um, the second thing is, are you mentally capable of doing it? Who's your network? Where's your support going to come from? What's going to happen when, you're sick and the kids are sick at the same time? Have you got people who will step in? Um, have you got that confidence to ask for help?
mm.
Because as a mom, you will have to.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, because these are things a lot of times we don't think about. We just jump into it,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
especially
yeah,
younger
yeah,
couples. Mm,
yeah. But also don't do it because everybody else is telling you to do it. Do it because that's what you want to do. It is okay to have a shorter maternity leave
mm,
and then go and work. It's okay. That's going to work for you. Do it because
mm,
you, again, are important in this equation as much as your children are.
because
Happy parents equals happy children.
that's very true, because
Yeah,
all of a sudden your well-being is not just about you, it's about your dependents as
absolutely.
well. So there's
Absolutely.
an extra layer to be
Yeah,
thinking of and considering, right?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Now,
And
thank you.
another thing I would add,
Sure.
don't worry about the house. Don't worry about the house. A house is always messy when you have kids and they
Mm.
grow up.
That's so real. Thank you for that. Thank you. Now,
So,
like I said, we'll move to the business part, which is you starting because you couldn't get a job. Like, you started your own business.
I guess I did.
What got you to start your own business rather than just keep trying to get a job? And two, you mentioned being a Fiji Indian, right? And getting into a
Yeah,
lingerie business, and
yeah,
especially you are based out of Wellington, right? Could you tell
yeah.
us that phase of how everything fit in?
So I got invited to one of these lingerie fitting parties. And while I was sitting there and watching this consultant do her job, I thought, I've got all the tailoring, fashion,
Mm,
sort of background with my parents being tailors. This is something that I can do. What really attracted me to that business model at that time was the investment to start that was very low financially. And I thought, well, I can start this business. I can fit the business around my family,
mm,
and I can even work from home. And with those thoughts, this business just became the best thing ever. It was a really good introduction of being a woman, being a mom, getting back into the workforce, but this time for my own self. And that was very empowering. The benefit was to be helping another woman get fitted in her right fit underwear.
mm.
And, no one talks about it, but women live in it for so long, they might as well get it right and be comfortable while wearing underwear.
Especially in our culture, we rarely, I mean, hear these
Yeah,
things.
exactly,
Mm,
exactly. And it's such a taboo to be talking about these things, yet
mm.
it's a reality that we all go through.
And what were some of your initial challenges?
Yeah, at that time we were living in Tauranga. We had just got back from Solomon's, had
Mm,
baby number 3, and then moved, and we're living in Tauranga, and that's when I started that business.
right,
We were in Tauranga for about 6, 7 years, and then my very clever husband got asked to do a secondment in Blenheim.
right.
So here we were, looking forward to another adventure, 3 kids, 2 dogs, 1 rabbit. We piled them all in the car and
Yeah.
got on the ferry, got to Blenheim on the coldest day,
Mm,
and including my business in tow. And Blenheim was that catalyst that really propelled this business. And I know a lot of businesses closed down around COVID,
mhm.
but mine went the other way. I went virtual and started doing virtual consultations, which
Wonderful. Mm.
extended my
Your
reach.
reach. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, and I figured out how to do things differently and how to connect with people online.
Mm.
And yeah, the business grew about 232% that year.
Wow, wow.
And
I mean, one, it just showed your resilience, and that's something you developed as you're growing from a child, of
yeah,
going to different countries and cities and growing up, to when the entire country locked down. And we all know New Zealand, the lockdown was quite strict.
yeah,
You got that hat on and say, "No, resiliency, here I come." You changed it around,
yeah.
learned some new skills,
Oh,
online
yeah.
marketing, and just diversified your business that way.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Pritesh.
No, that's so inspiring in itself. Now, are you still in the business, or have you moved forward?
No, no, I sort of canned that business once we moved to Wellington. We're actually in Kapiti Coast, which is 45 minutes north of Wellington, beautiful coastal town.
Mm,
And I actually went into clothing retail. And while I was in that clothing retail in a tiny shop with a couple of shops empty around me, I was constantly thinking about how to increase foot traffic. And I thought, if only one business goes in that empty shop, it will only have a certain set of people coming through. How about I put multiple businesses under one roof, which means
mm,
it becomes a hub and a lot more people will come. And hence, Copperfield Collective was born in
wow.
2023. Still remember the first day we opened and how happy and proud my family were for me. My biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleader. Um, and I remember clearly my husband standing up and in his speech saying, "Never tell my wife that she cannot do this because she will go ahead and do it."
I absolutely love that because that was when we were sort of getting out of the COVID lockdowns.
Yeah,
I mean, 23, I think we were still in COVID. We had some lockdowns, but the restrictions were a bit lower. Businesses
yeah,
were struggling. For you
yeah,
to come up with this innovative idea of having many businesses, many types of products under the one roof,
yeah.
and it would have benefited the people around you, it would have benefited the business owners, but also more
Yeah.
so the morale would have lifted. As
Yeah, I remember the mayor coming and mayor of Kapiti opening the shop and saying that this is the sort of initiative she would like to see in Kapiti,
uh,
and it was really a statement that stayed core to our values. It's bringing a lot of businesses together so they can thrive together, learn from each other, and be able to have that great presence.
hmm, wow. I mean, I'm sure you would have made yourself proud, your family proud, but at the same time, you make us Fiji Indians proud because a lot of times when we hear about Fiji Indians migrating to New Zealand, majority are in Auckland.
Yes.
But to have you not in one of the main centers and still coming up with these brilliant ideas and brilliant ways of doing things that is uploaded and to be uploaded.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's amazing. And you are still doing the Copperfield Collective, right?
Yes, yeah. So when we first started, we
Mm.
had 6 businesses under one roof. Within 3 months, we started growing and we had to move out of that 34 square meters of space into a bigger area. We initially co-shared and took on about 120 square meters of space. And then within 6 months of that, we grew into a 300 square meter building.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm kind of downsizing now and working on a different structure where we're more boutique and working with businesses who are really committed to building their brand. They're not afraid to shine. They're happy to say, all right, this is not working. Let's try it this way.
Mm,
So a whole bunch of different characteristics and approaches
mm.
to work together and build together.
To try out something together.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
If someone is interested in being part of the Copperfield Collective, how can they contact you?
Very easy. Find us on social media. That's where our ideal customers are. That's where we are. Facebook is a great way of getting in touch with us. We call Copperfield Collective.
Mm-hmm.
Just send me a message. What we do is we sublease floor, wall, or shelf spaces according to the needs of businesses, and then we oversee all the sales and admin side of retail for them. So basically, we make retail affordable and really easy for unique product-based businesses in New Zealand.
Mm,
You've got to be unique
of
and
course.
not be afraid of being unique.
Yeah, you got to be yourself as one, and to be proud to be who you are, and unique is being good. But at the same
Yeah,
time, got to stand up and show up and embrace who you are, right? Because you are made in a
exactly.
special way by our creator. As simple as that.
Yeah,
Mm, mm,
absolutely. It's that saying, you can't, if you put a burning candle under a bucket, it will blow out.
mm,
But if you remove that bucket, it will illuminate its
mm,
light.
nah, like
So
what?
take off the bucket around the candle, let it glow.
And let your light shine. Kamni, who has been your greatest inspiration in your journey?
I think I constantly refer to my parents. They've been excellent role models.
Mm,
But my biggest support comes from my husband.
mm.
He's my sounding board. There's been times where I would just jump out of bed and say, I've got this idea. And poor guy would be like, don't want to hear it. But I know deep down inside that I've got his full support. While I'm doing this right now, he's out there cooking dinner
Uh,
uh, with our girls.
it's just beautiful, the importance of an amazing team, mom and dad,
Yeah,
husband and wife, right? It's not just for the home front, but for business and career.
Team Russell Rock. That's what we say. That's our little family saying. And with 3 teenage daughters,
Mm,
we try to pull them together as a team, and it's a challenge. However, it's really important that they
mhm.
also see what their parents are up to behind the scenes.
Tell us a little bit about parenting teenagers, and if there are parents out there, what advice would you give them?
I think I've got a very open style of parenting. I'm not their friend. I'm not my children's friend. I'm their parent.
Mm,
And I look at it as my most important duty in the whole world.
mm,
However, I let my children make decisions, and they can come back to me with their decisions, and I will be their sounding board. I
mm,
like them to be in control of their lives and never say, "Oh, but you told me to do this, and I've done it, and this is how it's turned out to
mm,
be." As Fiji Indian parents, I've noticed this with a lot. It's a lot of being in control and dictating, and not actually taking a step back and saying, "Doesn't matter how I grew up. What
mm,
is it that's most important that I'd like to teach my children?"
mm,
And for me, most important things are that I bring up 3 independent, self-sufficient young ladies who know the difference from what is right and what is not.
mm,
And that's just my basic principle of parenting. It's challenging at times, but
mm,
it's rewarding because recently I know something had happened with one of my daughters, and it was in a friend group where she was able to say, "Actually, that's not right, and I'm not going down that path. I'm
mm.
going to call my parents and they can come and pick me up." And I just thought,
Wow.
yes,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah,
I mean, especially as teenagers standing up in
yeah,
amongst your peers, it takes a
yeah,
lot of courage, right? But
absolutely.
what you have done, and to me, it almost sounds like you have taken every opportunity to empower them to make your own
Yeah,
decisions, to be there as support. And I'm sure whatever actions they took, you had some strict guardrails around it,
yeah.
yet you gave them the flexibility to navigate and figure things.
Thank you. However, it's not easy because I am such an OCD control freak. I want to know everything, but at the same time, I've got to dial it back and tell myself that they are clever, intelligent girls,
Mm.
and they know the difference between what's right and what's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Final few questions. What motivates you most these days?
I think seeing people succeed and be happy,
Mm,
it's just the simplest thing. We've got a saying in the shop, let's make that person happier when she's leaving than how she came into the shop.
wow. Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's even a friendly hello. It's having that time. These days, people are very time poor.
Mm,
I'm not. I've got time for everybody
mm,
and anybody who needs me.
mm,
Um, I will do anything to help. And I think being able to be in a position where I can help is the biggest motivation.
mm. Yeah, that's once again I would almost say, coming from the Fiji Islands, growing up in Tonga, that serving nature in us, and the
Yes,
care for the
yes,
other person, the next
yes,
person, and that outward living, as I say, to just
yes,
make someone else's day, right? And who
yes,
knows
yes,
when a person walks in, what's going on in their space?
absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. So let's not be judgmental. Let's be
mm,
compassionate.
beautiful.
Yeah.
My last question for you before we have some fun and go into a quick fire round. What would your one advice be to women who are trying to find who they are?
I would say be open and be honest and be kind.
Hmm.
A lot of time, um, what I have noticed is with us Fiji Indians, we have this thing about being right instead of being kind. So
Mhm.
turn that around. Let's be kind, kind to ourselves, kind to our thoughts, kind to our feeling. And if you can be those three things, I think you will do really well. And be open to feedback. If you ask someone for advice,
Hmm.
it's because you trust them. So go ahead and be receptive to it, not defensive.
Yeah, that's quite profound. One, it's good to ask for advice, but actually, are you taking it on board? Are you saying, okay,
Exactly.
I am wrong.
Yeah.
I should be
Yeah.
improving in these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Mm,
And there's no shame in asking for help. In fact,
mm,
people who ask for help are the strongest ones because they know what their pros and cons are.
mm, mm.
Help.
Absolutely. And the greatest leaders are those who are teachable, right? Every moment they can learn, they
Absolutely.
can grow and evolve.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let's just have a little bit of a quick fire round, few questions
Okay.
before we wrap this up. So, Kamni, what's your favorite dish?
Oh, lamb curry.
Lamb curry, love it. Best country you have visited or lived in?
Oh my goodness, New Caledonia.
Wow. Summer or winter?
Both.
Both. Okay.
It's because I love okay, this is a winter obsession of mine. Um, Gourmet ice cream
Mm.
in winter on a rainy day in a car parked in front of the beach.
Ooh,
It's a happy
it's
sensation.
a bliss
And
kind of
then
thing for you.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And in summer it's walking on the beach without any shoes and just playing with our dogs and
Mm.
being flashing my husband or trying to trick him and trying to push him in the
For
water.
sure.
Yeah,
Brilliant. And the very last question, the biggest lesson Kamini has learned in life so far?
life's too short. Just
Mm.
do whatever you want as long as it benefits you and others along the way.
Kamini, thank you so much for your time. We are incredibly blessed and honored to have had you on our show. And I'm sure the listeners would be inspired by your story, and there'll be so many takeaways from this. So thank you for your time. Any
Thank you.
wrapping words from you before we close this?
Just don't forget that it's always a good day to have a great day.
Love it. It's always a good day to have a great day. To our
Yeah.
listeners, I really hope you embrace this. It's always a good day to have a great day. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the 3 Hour Stories podcast. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.